Good afternoon, hello and welcome to Closing Bell. You're with us on this Money Control live YouTube telecast. I'm Surbhi Upadhyay, and what we have is a market that is now perking up. Perhaps it's all thanks to the weekly expiry impact that's playing out on the Nifty right now, because look at the way that index is galloping. The Nifty is up 0.6%, and what a different screen this is compared to how we started in the morning. You can see at the opening, 9:15 opening bell, we had started with a 250-point gap down. And from there, it's been choppy, but yes, surely the bulls have managed to prevail. So this would make it, if we end on this note, which looks like a high possibility considering there are about 25 minutes of trade left, this would be the third consecutive day of positive gains and some faith and maybe some confidence coming back to the market. There's plenty to talk about, lots of individual stocks moving around. But first and foremost, let me introduce my guest on the show, Ajit Mishra of Religare Broking is joining in. Ajit, thank you so much for being with us. You know, after being beaten down black and blue, I think the screen would have given people a lot of reason to just be relieved, right? Last 2-3 days. What do you make of today's recovery?
Yeah, good afternoon, Surbhi. So definitely means earlier what we were seeing that the recovery was also very shallow, means a very selective participation. But look at the screens now. Means in the last 2-3 trading sessions, what we are seeing that it's a broader market participation. All sectors, by and large, are contributing to the move. Today, no doubt, IT is doing the heavy lifting, but prior to that, it was banking and financials which were doing well, and metal is the only constant in this recent recovery. So we believe that gradually and slowly we are inching towards the first area of hurdle, which is around 20 EMA mark, which is currently hovering around 23,400 levels. So we are very close to that mark, despite crude still hovering around $110 mark. So in a way, it's a positive sign, while VIX and crude still remains at the elevated levels. It seems like that the corporate updates before the earnings is playing the trick.
Yeah, that's true. Corporate updates for sure. And the fact that I think the market wants to believe that taco will happen. You know, it's been that taco trail the last 2-3 days, but we can only wait to see, because I think tomorrow morning when we come back to trade our time, we'll have the real proof. The so-called deadline that Mr. Trump has imposed, that'll be done, and then let's see what really happens. Considering today it's been very quiet. By the way, on the geopolitical front, there are no fresh updates to share with our viewers. Oil is very range bound. US yields are very range bound. The dollar is range bound, and we don't have any big significant updates in terms of either the negotiations or fresh hostilities. So it's just this mysterious silence that we've had for the better part of the day. Okay, Ajit, let's break this down. So if we get this decisive close above 23,100, and you're saying the next port of call is the 40 EMA, 40-day exponential moving average, what's the trade then? Within the Nifty 50 pack, where do you see more conviction? Which are the stocks? Actually, let me come to today's stocks. On that note, let's fire up the Nifty gainers. We haven't told our viewers what's working in today's trade. IT, for instance, is very, very strong today. So if we show up the tally of the gainers, Wipro, HCL Tech, TCS, Infosys, all of these stocks are rallying away. And then there are names like Hindalco, metal stocks, thanks to a couple of positive broker notes. JP Morgan's very bullish on Hindalco, for instance, and also other metal stocks. So some of them have done fairly well as well. There's Lever, there's ICICI Bank, there is ITC. So the short point is that there are a lot of legs to this up move that we are seeing this afternoon, Ajit. What do you make of it?
So certainly, Zurbi, means, when it comes to IT, which was sitting on the sidelines after the sharp cuts in the recent month. So the rupee depreciation has definitely, helped the sentiments a bit with the EPS upgrades. But again, we are very closer to this earning announcement now. So one needs to be slightly cautious how the management gives the commentary for the coming quarter is going to be critical factor. Basis what we are seeing on the price action, 32,000 on the Nifty IT is what we see as the next critical hurdle. So we are just 700 points away from that area after this bounce from 28,000 mark. So we still have marginal room, when it comes to the upside. Metal is one pack wherein we are seeing consistency in the move. So that is something that one should continue to focus on. So it's a broad-based recovery or a buying interest that is we are witnessing. Tata Steel has not performed yet within this metal basket. So where we see the potential of a fresh up move from the current levels. So with stop at 194 and for the target of around 206, one can go long in Tata Steel. Banking and financial selectively also we are seeing decent recovery. Federal Bank didn't participate much on the downside, and now with a rebound, the stock is set for the next leg of the up move. So here also one can look for long positions with 288 as a stop loss and 268 as a 268 as a stop loss and 288 as a target area.
Okay, so those are a couple of names, both on the metal side and on the BFSI side. Some more trades that Ajit is liking at the moment. Stay on, Ajit. We'll come back with more questions in just a bit. We also have Kunal Shah, who's expansion, and this is brownfield capacity expansion that's taking place in West Bengal. The project cost is about 610 crore rupees. They're likely to get a big subsidy as well from the government for this. So all in all, this perhaps is opening up a new growth window for the company, and the market seems to be excited. Plus, of course, there is that issue about more spends from the railways that seems to be aiding sentiment as well. So these are the two key stocks that really stand out today. Let me take them up with Ajit one by one. Ajit, on Jubilant FoodWorks, today's price action, has it violated any key support levels? What's the advice if anyone's holding the stock?
So Silvi, in fact, if you see that's been almost like 4-5 years that the stock has been consolidating in a broader range. Means we have had the phase where stock retested this level of around 400. In the May 2024, followed by a recovery towards 750 levels, and again we are back to the lower band of this range. So a break below 400 definitely may trigger the next leg of the decline and push this stock maybe towards 350, 300 vicinity. So in case if somebody is having any long positions, definitely they should refrain from adding to their loss-making position, and also maintain a stop at 380 on the closing basis for their existing position. In case if they see any recovery or a rebound, maybe close to around 460, 70, they should review their position as well.
And what about Titagarh Rail, Ajit? That and actually even Kernex Micro, because of that Kavach news, even Kernex Microsystems has had a good session today. So do you find anything interesting in these railway names?
So Kernex is comparatively better. Means structurally, if you see that most of these railway names also are witnessing correction for almost like 1.5 years, 2 years now. Kernex comparatively did well during this corrective phase. It also retraced from its record highs, but in comparison to the average retracement of around 50 to 750% in rest of the names, it's still like holding very closer to its record high levels. So in case if there will be any further recovery above 1100 mark, probably this stock may surprise positively and inch towards this previous record high zone close to around 1350, 1400. So Kernex definitely can be still be like considered as a bet on the buy side with the 970 as a stop. In case if we are looking for any fresh trade, fresh momentum would only be triggered once we see a close above 1100 mark. So it's basically a conditional buy in Kernex. Titagarh definitely here also we are seeing noticeable volumes in today's session. So this may result in further recovery, but the overall trend has still not changed yet. So around 800, 850 area, we might again see multiple resistances. So as of now, it's a hold, but avoid any fresh buying at current levels.
Okay, all right. That's specific advice on these two names. Let's go back and discuss the fundamentals now. Kunal, I know you won't talk about individual stocks, perhaps, but broadly in terms of the value destruction, Wipro is 25% off its peak. TCS, which is reporting numbers on Thursday, is 30% down from the peak. And then you have the others like HCL Tech, which is down 22% as well. Ajit, IT, is there a trade? Is there an investment opportunity? What are the charts suggesting on IT?
So Surbi, after this recent bounce, like what we have discussed earlier also, that we are very close to the very critical hurdle, means the short-term moving averages on the weekly chart. So maybe after the earning announcements, we might get some trigger which can help the index to overcome this barrier of around 32,000 mark, and then probably we have a clear trend. So, but as of now, it's a hold. One should not look for any fresh position. If you are entering into an event, especially with the IT heavyweights, because TCS is going to announce the numbers first, prefer hedged position instead of naked trades, especially if you are looking just for the short-term bias.
And IT has also made a bit of a habit over the last couple of quarters of going into the numbers strong. Many times you see this quarterly number rally, and then it's a fizzle off. Then the stocks cool off. So let's see what happens this time around. But gentlemen, we have to talk about banks and large financials. Tomorrow's policy day, right? And what's happening with some of the banking stocks is pretty interesting. The Bank Nifty was actually underperforming. It's still underperforming the Nifty. There's still plenty of caution. Let's fire up the top bank trades, both the gainers and the losers. Some of the private sector names are still gaining. You can see there, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, there's still some gains over there. Some of the mid-tier PSU banks actually have not had such a great day. Look at Bank of India. It's down 4%. Look at PNB, it's down 2%. Yeah, it's on your screen now. Then you have some other private names like Kotak and IDFC First, which are okay. Canara is down, Union. So basically, state-run banks are a bit on the back foot. Let's quickly ask Ajit first. Ajit, policy tomorrow. What's a good trade to take, or will you not take any trade? Is it just best to let the policy be out and then take a fresh call maybe at 10:30 tomorrow morning?
So Surbhi, after this, recovery, a rebound, yes, here also like what we are seeing is a recovery or a rebound trade yet. It's not confirmed that whether we are seeing a reversal. 54,000 is going to be a strong hurdle for the banking index. We are already at 52,700. 1,300 point is something that it might make an attempt in case if there's nothing negative comes up in the policy. And at the same time, we are seeing the oversold position in the private banking majors. They are also like kind of a mean reversion move which is playing out. So as of now, it looks okay. But in case somebody has to take any trade, Indian Bank looks interesting within the PSU basket, while the index is underperforming within the banking space. Indian Bank has done exceptionally well even during this overall corrective tone. Hardly made any major retracements, from its record highs. Formed a base during this entire, corrective phase. Possibly, we may see the outperformance continuing in the coming weeks also. So with stop at 860, one can look for long position in Indian Bank with 1,020 as a positional targets.
Okay, so Indian Bank looks like a clear trade. Ajit got that. Kunal, what about you? Now, there are just too many questions that have suddenly arisen when you talk about taking up, okay, got that. And Ajit, what do you make of this? Any new trades that you'll take in the coming days? I mean, Hindalco had a great day today. Anything looking good?
So in fact, Surbhi, metal is the only constant in this recent recovery. In fact, the entire sector has been outperforming from last several weeks. It's just that Hindalco, VEDL, they have done exceptionally well. Means they are again back to the very close to the record highs level. So there is a possibility that we might see some consolidation. No doubt, the overall trend looks positive. But Tata Steel, SAIL, NMDC, these are some of the names which have not participated much yet. And we see a decent upside even from the current level. So in case if the view is short term, stock like the metal counters which have not participated yet from the steel basket is something that you should be focusing on.
Okay, all right, got that. So gentlemen, now coming to closing thoughts, Kunal, what would you tell viewers at this point? Okay, all right, all points noted, including some of those ideas across private banks, as you're saying, some PSU banks, power distribution as well, and maybe capital goods and auto ancillaries as well. Got that. I think it will give some food for thought to our viewers. They can go back and do some more homework on some of these ideas. Thanks very much, Kunal, for joining in today. Now, Ajit, before we let you go to, thank you so much. Before we can let you go to enjoy a peaceful afternoon, now let's just discuss the setup, because again, we'll wake up tomorrow and we have no idea where oil is going to be with this grand deadline ending. But if things stay as they are, what should be done? I mean, should one be taking a 9:15 a.m. trade? Should you wait for the RBI policy to get over? How will you look at things tomorrow, Ajit?
So Surbhi, in case if we stay the way we are, means there's hardly any change overnight, then I think that this recovery is likely to extend further, because crude is still been stabilized around 108. VIX is still at the elevated levels, and from the last 3 trading sessions we are seeing gradual recovery. So maybe it's a mean reversion play which is continuing, and the good part is that the rotational buying across sectors is helping this move. So probably around 23,400, 500 is something the stock, in the index might test before we see any dip or consolidation sign. So in case if it remains as it is, maybe one can look for buying opportunity around 23,000 mark in case if there is a marginal dip in the index for 300, 400 point kind of up move. They can consider through option strategies in case if they are awaiting the RBI policy, for the updates and all. Otherwise, they can look for naked buying also with the 22,900 being the stop.
Okay, all right, that's the index. And Ajit, any individual stock trades, like you mentioned one or two PSU banks, but even beyond banking, IT was very strong today, metals you seem to still like. So let's recap one or two stock level trades for tomorrow.
Yeah, so metal definitely should remain on your radar. Means this pack in case if there'll be any correction. Also, I believe the outperformance is likely to continue. So Tata Steel is something that we have discussed at the beginning of the show. I believe that this counters definitely holds potential for fresh up move towards 206. Then we have sale also from this basket, wherein we see fresh potential. So means close to around 170 to 173 is something that we are eyeing as a next target area. So with stop at 155, one can go long and stay. Federal Bank, we have already discussed from the banking basket. Indian Bank is something that we also like. So these are some of these stocks from both banking and financials, metal and financials, wherein one can look for fresh long position, irrespective of the market tone.
Okay. All right, Ajit, thank you very much for joining in and taking us through market close and giving us plenty of trading ideas. And hopefully we'll come back to a pretty, manageable situation tomorrow, not something completely out of the imagination. But then that is the kind of market and that is the kind of world we're living in. Thanks very much. Have a great evening and we'll connect again very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so there you have it. The end of what has been another good trading session for the market, largely powered because of the fact that it was the weekly options expiry.